You've bought a DIY kit for an effects pedal or a piece of pro audio gear, and it came with a bag full of assorted resistors and no instructions for sorting. How do you know what's what? There are a few ways to go about this. The first is to learn the color codes. The color of each band on a resistor corresponds to a value. This chart is worth memorizing, but there's no shame in keeping one nearby for reference. You'll also get used to seeing certain colors, as there are some values you'll see a lot in audio kits. Most kits I've built have used resistors with 5 bands. The first 3 bands, technically called the significant digits, will each give you a number 0 through 9. For example, red, black is 2, 2, 0. The next band is the multiplier, essentially telling you how many zeros to add to your first digits. Here the band is orange, so we'll add 3 zeros, making it 220,000, more commonly called 220K. The last band is for the tolerance. Resistors are almost never exactly right on the value listed, and this band shows how far above or below the listed value it can be and still be considered in spec. In an audio kit, you'll often have the same tolerance across all the resistors, so when sorting, you'll rarely spend a lot of time looking at this band. For resistors with 4 bands, everything is the same, except that there are only 2 bands of significant digits, then the multiplier and tolerance bands. Another method of sorting resistors is to use a resistor calculator, like this one from DIY recording equipment. It works both ways. You can type in a value with R for ohms, K for kiloohms, and it'll show you the appropriate band colors. Or you can select band colors, and it'll show you the corresponding value. A side note here, while resistors aren't polarized so they can be installed in whichever direction, it's good practice to install all your resistors in the same orientation. This makes them way easier to identify later if you're troubleshooting. Lastly, and maybe most importantly, is measuring with a multimeter. This is the only way to get the exact value of that resistor, regardless of if you mix up your color codes. Just clip a lead to each leg, set your multimeter to read resistance or ohms, and if you're using a cheap multimeter like I am, you may have to change the range it'll measure as you go to find the correct value. Nicer ones will often have an auto range feature, which is really convenient. There's also a great trick, I wish I knew a long time ago, where you can plug a resistor straight into the multimeter where the leads typically go. This is super handy, especially if you don't have clip-style leads on hand. A method I like to use is to practice my color codes by memory, and then use the multimeter to confirm. I also usually re-measure as I install each resistor just to make absolutely sure I've got everything in the right place. It's worth being really thorough here to avoid major headaches later. So that's all there is to it. If you have any questions or suggestions for future videos, leave them below, and happy building!